last time I visited Hong Kong Disneyland, I was blown away. It was my first Disney park in years since I was a kid, and it instantly recaptured the magic. Although the park is on the smaller side, it has as much of the charm, if not more in some ways, than the other Disney parks. And when it came time to leave, I was pretty sad and wished I could return again someday. The following year, my family began planning our next big trip to a Disney park, Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. And at the time, the travel route that worked best was passing through Hong Kong, which created the perfect opportunity to revisit this very special little park. And this time we would be visiting during the Halloween season, my favorite time of year. As a lover of all things spooky, scary, and creepy, this made me a very, very happy Mr. YumYum. So what is it like to visit Hong Kong Disneyland during Halloween? Well, come along with me and experience the spooky vibes. Arriving at Hong Kong Disneyland, there's immediately a difference in the appearance. The iconic entrance has been transformed with spooky pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns, and the Mickey Mouse flower display has a spooky overhaul. I absolutely love this. This was fantastic, and a great first impression. On Main Street, there's pumpkins and Halloween decorations everywhere. Mickey's dressed up in a Halloween outfit for his meet and greet photo opportunity. There's also a really cool big pumpkin display photo opportunity on Main Street, which is very popular. There's lots of decorations throughout the park, which give Hong Kong Disneyland a new perspective. It's interesting visiting somewhere that you're familiar with and seeing it in a different light, which is why it's really cool to visit Disney parks during different holidays. On our last visit, it was November and it was the Christmas season. So coming back and seeing it Halloweenified was almost like visiting a different park in some ways. So what does Hong Kong Disneyland offer at Halloween other than the obvious appearance changes? Well, there's quite a few things to do, so let's go through them one by one. The biggest addition to Hong Kong Disneyland for Halloween when we visited would have to be the Let's Get Wicked show, which temporarily replaced the Lion King show in the theater, and this was absolutely incredible. This blew me away. Just like the Lion King show, this utilizes the 360-degree theater very well, and the show revolves around the Disney villains with highlights from the various films and iconic songs that the villains perform in their movies, from Gaston from Beauty and the Beast to Ursula from The Little Mermaid to Dr. Fazilia from Princess and the Frog to the Mother from Tangled. It was absolutely incredible seeing and hearing these iconic songs live at such a cool space. The production value was really incredible. I can't praise it enough, and I thankfully got to experience this a couple of times during my trip. It's difficult to choose a highlight throughout the show because each song and section is equally impressive and fantastic. But if I had to choose 3 highlights from the show as a whole, in no particular order, it would have to be Gaston's song from Beauty and the Beast. This section was so much fun, with all the performers and dancers recreating the amazing song from inside the tavern in Beauty and the Beast, where Gaston is praising himself. And this part features so many interesting components and props and tricks. The tables are all moving around, and the performers are passing drinks among each other, tossing beer steins across the stage and catching them. This was awesome. The next highlight would have to be the Ursula part of the show. There's some really crazy moments during this part, and it's difficult to capture the scale on camera, but there's one particular moment that was absolutely insane, where Ursula moves to the middle of the stage and suddenly she rises up with the ocean all swirling and moving around her. This was really impressive and very intimidating.
Inside, got you.
The next highlight would have to be a tie between Dr. Facilia's song from Princess and the Frog and the mother from Tangled. I know that's cheating, but I couldn't choose a favorite because both of these moments are really cool. Dr. Facilia's song is one of my favorite songs from any Disney film, and Princess and the Frog is very underrated. It doesn't get enough praise. And the mother from Tangled section is really funny. There's some crowd interactions where she brings guests up from the audience and messes around with them, which is very funny. What made this even more entertaining was because a lot of guests cosplay on their visit to Hong Kong Disneyland for Halloween. One of the participants she brought up was cosplaying, which gave everything a strange, surreal touch, which was very funny. Anyway, this show is insanely good. I really want to re-experience it one day, and hopefully you can as well. The next addition to Hong Kong Disneyland for the Halloween season during our visit was nearby to the Let's Get Wicked show, and this is called House of the Villains. This is a semi meet and greet performance show experience. I'm not quite sure what to call it. It's very unique, it's very entertaining, and it's very, very, very strange. I hadn't seen any videos or information about this edition prior to my visit, so I didn't know what to expect, but the wait to get in here was very long. It seemed to be very popular, so I was quite intrigued to discover what was so special about this. And once we got inside, I was even more confused than I was when we were outside. I'm not entirely sure what was going on here, to be honest. It's a bit confusing, but from my understanding, it was some kind of fashion show hosted by Cruella Deville, featuring impressive clothes and designs inspired by the iconic villains from Disney films. And this experience is split into two parts. When you enter, you find yourself in a large space with some kind of catwalk in the middle and a DJ and lots of very fashionable workers at this Cruella Deville fashion show, and they get the guests to stand on either side of the catwalk, and lots of performers dressed in interesting and cool costumes walk up and down the catwalk, and they encourage some of the guests to join in as well. And during this section of the experience, they also hand out invitations for some kind of exclusive offering once you enter the next room. And I was chosen for this. I felt very lucky. I didn't know what it was. I didn't fully understand, and I couldn't really hear what the woman was telling me. But from my understanding, I had to go and meet at some specific spot. So I thought, oh, lucky me. Lucky Mr. YumYum. I've been chosen. Luckily, my family was better at listening than I was, and told me this was actually an invitation to walk on the catwalk on stage, which was my worst nightmare. I'm a huge introvert and this would freak me the heck out, so I gave the invitation to someone else and pretended that never happened. I thought the first room was interesting and quirky and unique. That was until we got to the next room, which was on a whole different level. This was insanity in the best way possible. I truly do not understand what was going on, but it was very, very entertaining and it was very strange. And in this room, you get to see Cruella Deville herself hosting her exciting fashion show featuring amazing costumes and clothes inspired by Disney villains. The energy here was through the roof. It was extremely chaotic, and I mean that as a compliment. I think Cruella Deville herself would be happy to hear that.
I will always be the fairest of the...
It was very loud and very crazy, and it was a lot of fun. All the performers were extremely talented, and it was such a fun twist on the iconic villains to see them in this light, especially with Cruella Deville being absolutely insane. The performer that played Cruella was incredible. She was so funny and so energetic. The whole experience lasts maybe 20 minutes or so, and I would have to describe it as a transcendental, metaphysical experience, which takes you to a different dimension. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was very confused. I highly recommend. The next addition for Hong Kong Disneyland during the Halloween season is a special version of the parade, which was very exciting. I loved the parade at Hong Kong Disneyland on my last visit, however it was definitely on the shorter side with only a few floats, so I was looking forward to something elaborate and longer. And this parade was excellent. It ticked all the boxes for both a cool parade and something that scratched the spooky Halloween itch. The show once again features many iconic Disney villains, which was a lot of fun to see. During the lead up, many of them work the crowds, go up and down the street and interact with guests. One of the highlights was seeing the evil stepmother and stepsisters from Cinderella. These performers were incredible. They were all 100% in character, and the stepmother was terrifying and the stepsisters were hilarious. The parade itself is a much longer experience than the regular parade, and it's sort of split up into different sections, featuring a few main floats with Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and lots of dancers and performers and other characters between the floats. And I absolutely love this. This was a dream come true for a Disney Halloween fan. Such an amazing show parade to film as well and take photos of, especially during this time of day. The sun setting gave it such a nice light. It was so beautiful, and some of my favorite footage I've ever filmed. This was awesome. As well as the shows and entertainment at Hong Kong Disneyland for Halloween, Adventureland itself is also full of other photo opportunities and decorations. This seems to be the sort of hub for Halloween at Hong Kong Disneyland, and as I briefly touched upon earlier, a lot of visitors to the park dress up in costumes and cosplay, and it seems to be very popular. It was quite confusing because a lot of the guests who were cosplaying, their costumes were so impressive and well made, and they did such a great job at embodying the characters that they were dressing up as, that very often I got confused whether someone was an official Disney performer or if they were just a guest, which was very funny and very cool. I believe there is also a extra dining option in Adventureland for Halloween, which we didn't experience on this trip, but it looked very nice. It seemed to be Nightmare Before Christmas themed. So those are all the additions to Hong Kong Disneyland for Halloween. I definitely recommend visiting the park during this time of year. If you're a fan of spooky things and Halloween, it's 100% gonna satisfy your spooky cravings. I highly, highly recommend it. As for Hong Kong Disneyland itself, it was fantastic to revisit this park. I've formed a very deep affinity for this park. It feels like the home park in some ways, and I'd love to revisit again one day. I was visiting this time with a family member who didn't join us on our previous visit, so it was a lot of fun to share some of the highlights and amazing attractions at the park with them. The main ride we really wanted to re-experience at Hong Kong Disneyland was definitely Mystic Manor. This was such a favorite from our previous visit. One of the most iconic dark rides in the world, and one of my favorite ride facades ever. This is such a beautiful attraction from inside and out. I adore this ride, and it never gets boring rewriting it. It's so much fun. It was also fun to rewrite Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Trains, which is quite a unique coaster in the discography or filmography, whatever the theme parkography version is for rides across Disney parks around the world. Usually you have Big Thunder Mountain. It's kind of a recipe that works, but here they went for something different, and they were bold and brave and shifted things around a bit and came up with this, which is a really interesting alternative, which I'm a big fan of. The other main thing I was looking forward to re-experiencing at Hong Kong Disneyland during this visit was the Mickey's Wondrous book show in Fantasyland, which was so incredible last time. I was just so desperate to get some footage of it, because last time I was kind of right in the center of the audience, and it's not the greatest etiquette to be sticking your phone up in the air and your camera and blocking the view from people sitting behind you. So this time I really wanted to choose the perfect spot to watch this show from, and I think I found it. Instead of going towards the back of the audience or in the middle or anywhere like that, you have to get there a bit earlier, wait ahead of the other guests in line, and get straight to the front area of the show towards either the left side or the right side. We went for the right side, and you get a brilliant view of the whole show from here. It's fantastic if you want to take photos or videos. I sat right towards the end of the row on the aisle, so I wasn't blocking anyone's views or anything, and I had such a blast watching this show. I got so much fantastic footage I'm really pleased with, and I feel like I did a decent job at capturing the show. And this is such a highlight of Hong Kong Disneyland. I think this show is incredible, it's fantastic, and I absolutely love it to pieces.
Let it go, let it go.
During our visit to Hong Kong Disneyland as well, we also came at an interesting time because it appeared that one of the last performances in front of the castle was taking place for their 2024 season before they changed things up the Christmas entertainment. So I think we managed to capture the last performance of this show for that year, and I imagine if you're a performer and it's your last show, you're going to put in maybe a bit of extra effort, and I think it came through. The performers were singing their hearts out and the dancers were dancing their shoes off, and this was awesome. This was also something that we did not experience last year because we visited during Christmas time, so we didn't get to see their regular entertainment. So this show was like watching a new show for us. It was a new experience and it was really, really cool. You get to see lots of iconic Disney characters, and it's such a great spot in front of the castle. I also noticed the audience seemed to be filled up with other performers and other Disney workers who were cheering on their co-workers up there on the stage, which was a lot of fun. I thought that was so cool.
I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail.
It was also interesting revisiting Hong Kong Disneyland after our previous visit because the then new World of Frozen was a year older and into its life cycle, settling in, so to speak, into the park. So it was interesting to revisit this and see if anything had changed at all, and it did feel slightly less hectic. It wasn't quite as intensely busy as it was when we originally visited during its opening period. It was still very busy, don't get me wrong, but it was nowhere near the levels of busyness to our previous visit. It was great re-experiencing the attractions here, wandering Oaken's sliding sleighs, the world's most expensive, highest quality, shortest coaster. This is a very impressive looking ride. It's very, very short, however. And the Frozen Boat Ride, excellent. Fantastic. You can't go wrong. Just a great attraction. We also enjoyed some food in the restaurant here in the World of Frozen, which was very tasty. Just like last time, I opted for the children's meal, which is a good option. Try a few different things out. It's quite cost effective and friendly. Speaking of food, the unexpected hidden gem highlight of our trip to Hong Kong Disneyland was the restaurant in Mystic Point. Oh, even saying those words, don't get me started. This experience is... Why am I getting tingles talking about it? I'm getting shivers, goosebumps all over me. It was that good. This is a semi-buffet experience in Mystic Point where you can enjoy a selection of salads and entrees in the buffet, as well as ordering a main course option, and then returning to the buffet to fill yourself up with sweets and desserts. The restaurant itself is incredibly interesting. It's split into different sections of the world, featuring interesting decorations and designs from the various parts of the world. And the main entrance has all these cool masks as well. I find it so fascinating how every culture around the world seems to have a different type of mask. I think that's so cool, and I loved seeing all of these here. We sat in the Egyptian area, which was very nice. It was partly outdoors, and it was very cozy, some nice lighting in here, that pleasantly warm evening air. They say you can't get a second chance to make a first impression, and a first impression is made within the first 10 seconds. And within the first 10 seconds of entering this amazing restaurant, I knew this was the beginning of a very beautiful friendship between Hong Kong Disneyland and my stomach. I was like a dog pulling at the leash, just desperate to rush into the buffet room and just go insane. And I did. I went nuts. I had an absolute blast here. The food was incredible. There was so much stuff to choose from, and it was all delicious and fantastic and high quality. Oh, I'm salivating, drooling, thinking about it. Oh, I wish I could go back. I love it so much. I want to cry. This is so good. I can't even describe how good this is. Like, this is probably the best buffet I've ever been to in the world. One of the best dining experiences I've been to in the world. This was next level insanity perfection. I love it so much. I want to marry it and have kids with it. Maybe not that far. That's a little messed up, don't you think? So I went crazy for the entrees. I had a big old plate full of everything I could fit, and I loved every single bite. There's also some drinks you can choose from. I had a nice mango lassi. Wow, that's all I can say. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yum, 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 yum. That's my description. For the main course option, I ordered a burger, and boy oh boy, this was all so nice and so amazing. Look at it. Look at this burger. Look, soak it up with your eyes. Savor it. It's got a theming on the burger. What the heck? Why is it so good? That's insane. It was delicious as well. So cool. And then desserts. I can't even begin to describe how majestic, mystical this place is. The desserts, so nice. So interesting. Each little dessert is themed some way to something around the world. There's like pharaohs' tombs and pyramids, and I just am in awe. Hong Kong Disneyland. Food people. You're geniuses. This is insane. I would go back in a heartbeat just for this buffet experience. It was beautiful. A beautiful restaurant. And to top it off, the staff are incredibly friendly. They're so nice and so hospitable and so kind. Some of the greatest service I've ever had at a restaurant before. And they did such an amazing job. They made it a fantastic experience from start to finish. And they even came out at the end and gave us a special plate for Halloween with a nice message on it. And the waitress wanted to take a photo with us, which was so nice. Oh, such a nice memory. I love sharing my experience at this place in particular because talking about it makes me go back there in my mind and I can almost taste the delicious food. You have to go here. Don't worry about the rest of the park. Just go straight to this place. Unfortunately, I had to leave the restaurant to go and watch a fireworks show in front of the castle. A boring fireworks show with boring fireworks and stupid Disney music and dumb projection mapping. What a bummer. I had to leave the most magical place on earth to go back out to Disneyland. Included in the dining was VIP access to the fireworks show, which I think was just a way to make people get out of the restaurant because otherwise they would just stay there forever and eat all the delicious food. They had to get them out of there somehow, so they just came up with, oh, what can we do? Oh, why don't we just chuck them out and distract them with some fireworks? I think that's why it all exists. I think Hong Kong Disneyland itself exists to just so people don't eat all the food at the buffet. This was quite cool, I have to admit, although my stomach possibly disagrees. It was nice not to have to get to the castle area like 2 hours in advance and stand around for ages to get access to the VIP area and just rock up like 15 minutes before it starts or whatever and get the best view of the castle. Definitely worth the money, following an already world-class experience at the buffet. To top it all off with a beautiful fireworks show, what more can you ask for? This is like a top 10 travel memory experience I will cherish forever. Pretty perfect. The show is amazing. Such a beautiful firework display with a lovely message that makes you very emotional. Reminds you of how special your time is with the people you care about and the cycle of life. Incredible experience. I loved revisiting Hong Kong Disneyland. Such a lovely park and holds such a nice space in my heart for myself and my family. This was so nice to share my Halloween-y experience at Hong Kong Disneyland. I'm so glad I was able to record a lot of it on camera as well this time rather than my iPhone, and I'm very grateful to be able to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed watching. There's lots more trip report style content in the pipeline. Coming up next is the Japan mega trip where we visit Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Sea, and Universal Studios Osaka. A really exciting trip with some incredible moments. I'm very excited to share this as well. For the Australians, there's also footage from my trip to Melbourne where we do some sightseeing around the city, the Lego Star Wars exhibit and the Harry Potter experience, and Melbourne Zoo, Werribee Mansion, Werribee Zoo, and then head over to Ballarat where we enjoy Sovereign Hill and Cruella Castle. Right, finish things up there. A big thank you to the members and sponsors of Team YumYum for supporting my content. Thank you to the Team YumYum members, Randall, Maloney's Coasters, Kai on the Internet, Oogie Boogie, Theme Park, Ogre, Jordan Casey, Johnny Boy 175, The Downy Cat, Mika, Gary Jekin, Smath Mode the Awesome, Movies Like Everyone, Aston, and Breezy. And a very special thank you to the sponsors, Koala75, Audrey Allen, Senpai's JP Blue Dog, Senpai's JP Red Dog, Wayne Hewitt, Lee Donald, SWCV1, The Kez, and Mr. WG. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.